Welcome to SHAIL'S Kitchen, home of good food and good memories. Growing up in Trinidad and Tobago was a lot of fun because I learned to appreciate the art of liming and just relaxing and having fun. Today we're going to do a Trini treat that people love to eat when they're liming. Here's what's cooking in SHAIL'S Kitchen today. Chicken foot sauce. So here we have our chicken feet, which we're going to use for our chicken feet sauce. Now when I bought them, they had already cut this bottom part off the foot, but we actually like that part of the foot. So, if I had gotten it from a butcher that I knew, I would ask them to keep the whole chicken foot intact. But we bought them like this, so this is how we're going to use them. But the first thing that we want to do is to trim all the toes off of the chicken feet. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then I'm going to soak it in some lime for about 15 minutes and then rinse it clean. So let me show you how we're going to trim the toes off. Now it's naturally got a joint there, so you're going to want to try to hit that with your sharp knife and just go press down and just trim the toes off. And just continue doing that until you've trimmed all the toes and the toenails off of your chicken feet. And then I'm going to prep it further by cleaning it, by soaking it with the lime juice and then rinsing it clean before we move on to the next step. So guys, I just wanted to make a quick correction here. I kept saying cut the toes off. I meant just trim the toenails off of the toes. Please forgive me for that inaccurate description, but cut the toenails off. So here I have my chicken feet all cleaned and washed, and I've put it in a medium-sized pot in a single layer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the pot on high heat, and I'm going to add 4 cups of water to this. So my chicken feet, as you can see, are, almost completely submerged in the water. And I'm going to bring this on high heat to a boil. The chicken feet have been boiling for about 10 minutes now. And I'm checking it, and they've already started to soften. But the water is drying down a bit, so I'm going to add a couple more cups of water at this point. I've reduced the heat to medium-high, and I added a couple more cups of water along with some kosher salt and coarse ground black pepper to taste. And I also added some sprigs of thyme and some sage. I love the sage, the flavor of sage with poultry, so I think it's going to work well here for the chicken foot sauce. I just wanted to make a quick note about using sage if you decide to do that when you make your chicken foot sauce. The flavor came out really, really nice, but here's the secret to it. You just have to use a little bit because sage is really strong. So just a few sprigs, a few leaves will give you a really nice flavor without being too overwhelming. If I hadn't cooked this chicken foot sauce myself, I would have never known it had sage in it. It's been 15 minutes, so I'm going to check chicken feet. Oh, they're coming along nicely. But I'm going to add a couple more cups of water, and I'm going to give it 15 more minutes on the boil and then check it again. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes and then check it again. While the chicken feet are continuing to boil, I'm putting together all the other ingredients we'll be using when we are ready to assemble and get our chicken foot sauce together. I have some cucumber. We're going to need some lime juice, some hot peppers, some extra sage if we need it, some onions. I'm going to use Spanish thyme, some shadow benny, and some seasoning peppers. So the chicken feet are nice and tender now, so I've taken the heat off and I've pulled the pot off of the fire, off of the heat, and I'm going to let this cool down in the broth because we're going to be using this broth for our chicken foot sauce. So guys, I almost forgot this. I wanted to add some fresh ground garlic to this, and since it is still hot because I just took it off the heat, I just stirred in a couple tablespoons of fresh ground garlic to the pot, and that garlic is going to infuse some really, really lovely flavors to the chicken foot sauce. And it's going to cook in there real easy because it's nice and finely ground. This smells amazing. I'm going to taste the broth. Really good. Very nice flavor. And just enough salt, because when we add the other ingredients, it's going to absorb all the salt and all the other flavors that are already in the chicken feet. Our chicken feet have cooled down, so now it's time to add the rest of the ingredients. I've added all the ingredients to our cool chicken feet. Now it's time to give it a nice stir. That looks great, and it smells absolutely delicious. And one last thing that's an optional ingredient if you like it is to add some watercress to your chicken foot sauce. I fixed myself a bowl. Now it's time to chow down. I hope you enjoyed today's episode traveling to the islands of Trinidad and Tobago and being adventurous trying some chicken foot sauce. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel SHAIL'S Kitchen and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time on SHAIL'S Kitchen, home of good food and good memories.